All right, Nick. The high-flying Miami Dolphins offense has seemed to have gotten even higher and even flyier. Is that a word? Who knows? Uh, but there's been a rookie wide receiver coming in to the training camp and preseason who's really kind of stood out. And with all of the firepower beside like Mike Gesicki, you got your Tyreek Hills, you've got your Jalen Waddles. There's a lot of established weapons on this team. For one more to pop up and really start to put his name out there, it makes this Dolphins team even scarier. But we're going to get into that story here in a little bit. Before we go there, Dolphins fans, storied franchise. You know, you have some really, really great moments throughout history. You got the no name defense. You've got, the undefeated season. There's a lot of really great moments, but what we want to know is through those moments, there were players, and who has been your favorite player to watch growing up as a Dolphins fan? Tons of different eras of Dolphins football. Let us know when you were growing up, who was the guy that you idolized? But Nick, who's this Dolphin that's starting to turn some heads?
Yeah, so after the Dolphins preseason game against the Raiders, the Miami Herald reported on one player whose stock was rising, and it's none other than Erik Ezukanma with a great last name. This is according to the Miami
Flawless.
Herald. Oh, unbelievable. According to the Miami Herald, the fourth round pick out of Texas Tech had a game high 6 catches for 114 yards and was Thompson's, Miami Dolphins backup quarterback, go to receiver on the offense's final drive. Thompson found Ezukanma 5 times for 54 yards as he drove the offense down the field late, which ended with kicker Jason Sanders' miss on a 46-yard go-ahead attempt. Regardless, it was another encouraging performance for Ezukanma, who had a strong start to training camp and has impressed with his physicality, body control, and ability to get open. And going back to the beginning of training camp, CBS Sports reported that Ezukanma has impressed coach Mike McDaniel. McDaniel said this: "I've been very encouraged with how Ezukanma has handled himself and corrected things. The mistakes are changing. They're not the same ones, and that's what you want." All right, Maya. So it's obvious that this guy has made a big impact on McDaniel and the Dolphins at the start of training camp, and he's translating that to live games, and he's playing at a high level. What do you think of Ezukanma and just everything with the Dolphins right now?
Yeah, no, I think it's been really impressive. It doesn't surprise me to get production out of a fourth rounder. There's been a couple of fourth rounders lately. They've really been popping off the paper. This has been a draft that was full of some really nice fourth round talent. But Azu Kama has seemed to be like a guy who, he's had a lot of the intangibles coming out of college. Obviously, he's a pretty big target, and he was a team captain over at Texas Tech, which is something, that on the list of things you look for as a coach for, like high character guys, team captain always seems to be one that jumps off the paper. He led his team in receiving yards all 3 seasons. He can beat press in college. He did that very well. He has really good burst. So it seems to me that he could be a guy that could develop to be a really, really nice weapon for the Dolphins. Nick, when you hear things, he's got great high pointing of the ball, excellent hands. He can, win the contested catches. I really am curious. They say, team captain, led the team in receiving yards, all of those things. What do those kind of things say to you about a guy like this?
Well, I look at those things and where he fits in with the potential Miami Dolphins offense. Because when you look at the receiver group, they've got Waddle and Hill, very fast, very explosive guys, but they're not the biggest guy in the world. The Dolphins brought in Cedric Wilson, kind of the gadget receiver from the Dallas Cowboys, who I think was a little bit more productive with Dallas just because he got a lot of favorable matchups. I think he's going to be a good gadget guy with Miami, but I don't think he's going to be as big in the receiving game as maybe some Dolphins fans think. But I look at Ezu Kama, and you brought up his size, his production, his ability to high point and make contested catches. He is really the only legitimate guy on this roster, in my opinion, who is built just for that. And you need that in an offense, right? You can't just have an offense full of fast guys running verticals and slants and see if you get yards after catch. You need guys to win those 50-50 balls, to win those fades, those tough contested catches, because they happen throughout the game all of the time. And I really like his specific fit in the role he could have in this Miami Dolphins doing those things. And you talk about team captain. I love it because we talk about all the time on the show. I love rookies who are grown-ups. The NFL is hard. It is a man's league, like everyone says. So having a guy who's a team captain who led the team receiving for multiple years, big time program, Big 12 program, I think that just is more of an indicator that he's ready to step in and have a big impact right away.
A couple of things also about Ezukanma that seem to be really interesting. Another thing we always like on this show is through his 3 years at Texas Tech, he showed progression every single year, and that was a big one for us. In that, in 2019, he graded out at like a 67.3, 2020 72.2, and then finishing out 2021 with a 76.5 grade. You see that progression every single year. He doesn't seem to stagnate. He seems to be wanting to learn, to progress, to get better. I look at things like he had a pretty solid game where he graded out against Houston, who had Pepe Williams as one of their corners that is now in Baltimore. But he was a pretty strong player, and he had a great showing against Houston. Obviously, he also had a great showing against Oklahoma, his highest graded showing, at 81 grade overall. Oklahoma, who everyone knows, we say they're the blue blood school. They got a lot of really highly rated prospects on that team. So showing out against a school like that is a big time thing. But I just like the progression that he has made throughout college. And I think when we look at something to help someone make the jump in NFL, they have to have improved at least a little bit every single year. If you see any sort of regression or just a huge 0 to 100, so to speak, it isn't as promising as when you see a guy that makes those steps every single year.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.